Welcome back to Talking Real, brought to you by the Oklahoma Association of Realtors. This is episode 105 of Talking Real, and you're back in the studio with Geoff and Nabeel. Nabeel, how's your day going?
Fantastic. It's
Good.
the first Monday of the month when we're recording this.
Yeah? Just had a little Super Bowl action, so congratulations to all the Kansas City Chiefs fans.
Yeah. I'm sad I missed all the ads.
Yeah.
Because I was driving back at the time Super Bowl was happening, so I'm going to have to wait until people release and some of them already have their top 10 and most watched ads and stuff like that.
My favorite was definitely the Bill Murray Groundhog Day Jeep challenge.
I didn't
called.
actually watch that because I think I caught the last 8 minutes of Q4, which was probably the most exciting.
That's a great part of the game. That's a great part of the game.
So
it was a good Super Bowl. I didn't start paying much attention to the second half, but I thought it was a great Super Bowl, and so congratulations to all the fans out there. I know in Oklahoma, because we don't have an NFL team here, a lot of fans do kind of end up being Chiefs fans, so we have a lot of Chiefs fans locally because they're kind of a close team.
Yeah.
So congratulations to all those folks. I have some friends from college who are like the biggest Chiefs fans ever, and so I was real happy for them.
It was their first one in like 50
years.
Yeah,
50 years. Yeah.
It's a long drought.
Should be good for them. So other stuff coming up. We still have Capital Conference right around the corner, and it's not too late to get signed up for that.
Just a month away now.
Yes.
And you can get more information on that at okrealtors.com/Capital Conference.
Yes.
Check out the schedule. There's a lot of legislative advocacy, learning, and a lot of, hey, why is this important and why you should really be invested in this.
Yeah, for sure. It'll be a good one, so check that out. It's free to sign up, so head on over there and get signed up for that. Also, NAR Region 9, that's the number 9.com. You can head on over there and get signed up for our Region 9 conference that's coming up, which is our conference and networking and some association business stuff that you may be interested in. That's going to be going on here in Oklahoma City with realtors from Missouri, Arkansas, Kansas, and Oklahoma. So we got the whole region coming in, a lot of people from NAR leadership coming in. So come check that out too. We're going to have a good time with that one, and I'm looking forward to it. So that's later on in March.
Yeah, that's going to be a good one too.
Yeah. Anything else exciting going on in your world, Nabeel?
My world is always exciting.
Can people go to nabeelconference.com and get signed up for your conference coming up? No? Okay.
I wonder what my conference would be like.
We'd have a good time, but we'll plan that for 2021.
All right.
So last week we talked about new smart home tech that came out of CES 2020, which is a Consumer Electronics Show. And we told you that we want to talk about the smart home stuff because we obviously had a full episode worth of that and hope you found some cool stuff there that you liked.
Yeah.
But there's also some relevant new stuff and innovation coming out of CES that is more business oriented that may help impact your business and give you some new tools, more efficient tools, those kinds of things. Technology always is rapidly expanding and a lot of new things coming. And so we have a few trends on this one too.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk to you about all the cool stuff to outfit your brokerage from CES that's coming out, some of the new tech that's on the horizon or that may be available right now.
Yeah, and there's some cool stuff, and there's a little bit of overlap, which we'll talk about, because obviously tech for business and tech for home can overlap in some aspects.
For sure.
But this one, I mean, it had some really cool stuff.
Yeah, it's
like, this is stuff that I'm like, man, if this comes in, because a lot of the release dates for the first few things that we're going to talk about are mid 2020, and some of them have no release date yet, so they're, they obviously want to make sure the tech is good enough to put out in the market.
Yeah.
So
I think the underpinning that's really going to change things, and I think just broadly for business and life and everything, is 5G, right? This is sort of the thing that people are talking about right now, is the launch of 5G. We've had some launching of that in certain markets. I think it's available here in Oklahoma City. If you've got a newer device that supports 5G, you can actually get, I don't know if it's like fully amped up 5G, but it's definitely that next generation of, over the air data.
Yeah. See, I don't know. I'm not completely enthralled by it because I remember when 4G was being rolled out and then 4G LTE, and it was awesome. Don't get me wrong. It was really cool. But when everyone got on that network, it slowed down from its initial test speeds and everything that was promised. And it was still faster than what 3G was, obviously. But I don't know if it's going to be all that in a bag of chips.
See, I kind of am going to take a little bit different stance.
Okay.
I think I disagree because, again, with the way that we've changed this technology to where understanding that you're going to have to essentially be able to support every single human connecting to it with one or more devices, and definitely more devices.
Yeah.
I think preparing for that scalability of it, and I mean, you're talking, we're speeds of 100 times faster than what we're dealing with now. So if you're hooked directly into, you know, your fiber optic cable in your home, the kind of speed you can get, I mean, we're almost moving beyond the speeds that we can actually utilize right now for most things.
Yeah.
But it creates the capacity to be able to do things like having, this is not necessarily real estate, well, maybe it is, but like, you know, having the autonomous vehicles and things like that, like this is what we have to be able to support that.
Okay, so I do agree with that. Like, that potential is fascinating, and I'm sure there's going to be some upgrades to this 5G network before it even reaches that full potential.
Right.
But for the things we have right now, yeah, I don't think 5G is going to be like all of a sudden you're going to be like, oh my gosh, my work is so much faster.
Yes, I think that you're right. What I don't think it's necessarily going to do is that just, okay, so you're now able to stream 4K video to your phone as opposed to, you know, whatever, instantaneously from anywhere.
Right.
That's not necessarily going to, I think, drastically change, but I think it's all the other innovation that comes around. And
Right.
what apps are going to be able to do, how quickly you're going to be able to, and it's not necessarily even a speed thing, but it's more the ability to transfer large amounts of data relatively quickly, and those kinds of things that are going to be really important, I think. Plus having all, like last week we talked about with the smart home stuff, all the stuff we can now connect for various purposes. That's what we're going to be getting into with just even more stuff, and what that's going to look like, having this just broad connectivity. And I think it's going to be fascinating. I think this is kind of a game changer.
I feel like I'm on a super devil's advocate stage right now, because there is a downside to that capacity as well, right? Because it makes things become bigger. So like if you notice, even in our computers right now, we have 16, 32, however amount of gigs of RAM, but you still run into that problem of running out of memory or things not working well. That's because everything else then is like, oh, I have this much more space to use, my software is going to work fine. And then when you add everything up, it ends back up where it was.
Well, and I think this is where the 5G changes that, because
it's got more capacity.
Well, and you're moving away from having to store things locally because you can access them and stream them instantaneously. Right. So now you're just going to have this expansion of cloud-based servers. And so you don't actually have to download apps anymore, right? That's like the future is not having to download apps. It's that you like download the icon, but you're streaming it instantaneously from wherever you're getting it.
That was part of my phone that I got like 3 years ago. It was offloading my app settings to then pull it back whenever I needed it.
Exactly.
And so yeah, that is kind of cool.
Yeah. So all that cloud connectivity, everything else, that's what's going to, I think, change things, and we're going to see some real interesting changes over the next decade or so, I believe.
Okay. So that ends our 5G portion of the conversation.
That was an unplanned little 5G debate. That was fun. So, but again, as we talk about what 5G can do, and the bottom line is technology is not going anywhere, and
it's only going to get better.
Exactly.
Right.
And we want to start off by talking about kind of another new thing is this bendable tech, and we've been seeing this for a couple of years. And I think it started out with really smartphones was sort of the first iteration we were seeing.
And mostly just prototypes, people being like, hey, this is cool, look what tech can do.
Right.
But it wasn't refined enough or tested enough to release out into the market.
Yes.
But now it is.
Yeah. We're starting to see some actual releases on the horizon, specific time periods, those kinds of things. And just the other day, we were looking at the Motorola Razr is coming back.
Yes.
That was my favorite phone, the flip phone. But this time, you flip it open, and the entire thing is a screen.
It's a flippable smartphone.
Yes.
Like,
yeah.
It is, like, when you flip it open, it's like a phone you use right now. But when you close it, it's a flip phone.
Right.
It's going to be fantastic.
And it has that look of the old school Motorola Razrs. Just, you know, I thought it was great. But what we're talking about here is laptops as well. And I think this is kind of cool. So the first one that has an actual release date is going to be mid-2020. is from Lenovo, who is a Realtor Benefits partner. Worth noting, you can actually get pretty big discounts if you go through NAR and you buy your Lenovo laptop or other Lenovo accessories. But they're ready to launch the world's first laptop with a foldable screen. It's the ThinkPad X1 Fold. And it's got a 13.3-inch screen that bends inward to snap shut magnetically. And it's sort of like, imagine a large iPad, the big ones that you can fold in half.
Right. Think about what that's going to do to your portability and just being able to carry these things around. Now, essentially your laptop or your iPad is half the size.
Right. Yeah, I think this is cool. Now, the weird thing is that, okay, so it's basically a tablet that you can fold in half. So imagine more like a Microsoft Surface probably than an iPad in a lot of ways. Anyway, but then it has a magnetic keyboard that you can attach to it if you want a real keyboard, or you kind of fold it in half like a laptop, and it's got
so it's like a half keyboard, half screen.
Yeah, sort of like a digital one, or you can have two different apps going on the bottom one and the top one, and it's all touchscreen. So and now the idea of a screen-based laptop is not great, right? If you have a keyboard, if you've typed on just an iPad before, it's not having that feedback. It's not real smooth or anything, but it'll get you by if you need it.
Yes.
But I think the cool thing here is just the flexibility that this is going to offer. Flexibility, pun intended. But just the innovation here. I don't know that it's that novel that it's going to change anything, but it's kind of cool. It's pretty neat.
I'm excited that this is finally out to the public. Right. So the next one, kind of going along with the same thing, is the Ori, which is short for origami.
I like it.
And I kind of like that name a lot.
Yeah.
And that's from Dell, who is also a Realtor Benefits partner.
Right.
So check out the discounts that are available there. And this is another 13.4-inch laptop with a screen that can fold 90 degrees and operate like two screens on one device. So that's kind of cool because you can have it like sitting up.
Right.
Two screens.
Like a book or something.
Yeah. And this kind of exactly what you're talking about. Half can be used as a monitor and the other half as a keyboard if you don't have a keyboard and you're in a pinch. But and this doesn't have a release date yet.
Right, this one doesn't either. They also showed Intel's Horseshoe Bend, which is a prototype 17.3-inch foldable tablet PC. So again,
that's going to be huge.
Huge. This one they're kind of saying,
in half.
Yeah. This one they're saying, don't look forward to this anytime soon necessarily. Like, this is still just prototype. This is a technology we're working with. I mean, Intel doesn't really even make computers. So,
right.
But again, just showing what we can do with this technology. So, again, I think the foldable tech is finally, like 2020 is that year that it's actually going to be coming to market. They've made the screens and everything else. We'll see. I mean, again, you can quality test these things all you want, but put them in the hands of consumers and they'll find a way to break them. So,
I think the Razer is still not out yet, right? It comes out later this month.
I think that's correct.
So that'll be the first real test of mass consumers with foldable screens. And let's just mention it comes at a premium.
It does.
Right?
Absolutely.
The Razer is probably the most expensive phone on the market right now.
It's like a $1,500 phone. Yeah.
And then that Lenovo ThinkPad X1 Fold. These names are going to get more complicated. Is that $2,500 price tag?
Yeah.
So it's not a cheap tech that you're going to get your hands on, but it's cool.
Yeah. I think it's exciting, and it's funny because I'm now using a MacBook, and as are you, and most of us in our office are, and like we don't even have touchscreens on Macs yet.
Yeah.
So I don't know, maybe Apple's smarter and thinking, let's not get too crazy yet, or we'll see.
I wonder what has stopped that. Well, because they want the people to buy their iPads.
Fair point.
Right?
Yeah.
The iPads would go away if they just made these touchscreens, because these are almost as small as an iPad.
Maybe. Perhaps. So we wanted to cover a few productivity tools as well. Really, we just see a lot of improvement in the voice assistants. So we're talking your Amazon Alexa and the Google Assistant, particularly all the ones now that have screens on them. So, for example, the Google Nest Hub, think about it, and the Nest Hub Max, which is the big one. That's what we have at home, are the hubs. We like those. But they're just expanding the things they can do, and also they were created more for home, and they are now expanding them to just new features to be able to use them in the office as well.
And new skills, and they're learning and growing as this thing grows.
Yeah. One thing I think is cool is the Google one. They announced that they have the ability to leave a digital post-it note through its notes skill.
I kind of like that.
I do too. I mean, it's just kind of neat. It says you can say, "Hey Google, leave a note. I'm at a showing," for example. And so if that's like sitting on your desk facing outward, then if somebody walks in, they'll just see the post-it note on the screen that says "I'm at a showing" or whatever the note is.
And they don't have to like look at your calendar and try to figure out where you are. You could even put in the address there.
Exactly.
You know, I'm at a showing at XYZ place, and you know people know where you are.
That's an interesting idea.
So, hey, two birds, one stone.
Yeah, I like that. So that's kind of cool that they're just expanding that. You're going to find new ways to use those for business. Google also announced that it's expanding its read aloud feature in Google Assistant to where it can just do more complicated things. So, for example, you may have a long article or an email or other contents where you can say, "Hey Google, read this page to me," and it will read it out loud to you, as
That's
well
cool.
as translate messages into 42 different languages. Which is crazy.
And you see that on your computers right now, where if it detects a different language, you can just say translate page, and it translates the whole page for you. Not 100% accurate,
Right.
but it gets you by.
Right.
And this read aloud thing is really cool because you could be multitasking. It could be reading you an email or something else, and especially in your car.
Right.
You know, you can still interact with your emails and messages more robustly
For sure.
than you would have before.
Yep, absolutely. And anything to keep us from using our phones while driving is good.
The next cool thing, I mean, this is kind of going back on speed,
Right.
is about routers and having undeterred internet throughout your whole office or your home.
Right.
And the new routers that had come out, you know, last year, a couple years ago, the Wi-Fi 6,
Yes.
those are super pricey. And, you know, you'd be thinking, is this worth it, is this not? But now those prices have been coming down
Drastically.
significantly, yes. So Netgear's Nighthawk Mesh includes two Wi-Fi 6 routers at $230.
Right.
And
And that's
so
for
you-
the package of two.
That's for a package of two. So you can rest assured that like a 3,000 square foot office building would be fully covered with this mesh router system operating at 1.8 gigabits of bandwidth.
That's insane.
That's a lot of speed.
Yeah. This is going to support. So, you know, an example, right? So in our house, our Cox Wi-Fi, right? We may pay for 150 megabits per second speed, but if you use their router, their built-in modem router, you're going to max out at like 50, 60, 70 megabits per second over Wi-Fi. We got the Google Wi-Fi mesh system, the Google Home mesh system, and that was able to increase our speeds up to 130 megabits per second by just changing from the built-in, just mediocre system to the Google Wi-Fi. This, you're talking, right, in your house, you can get up to 1 gigabit
Like
speeds.
Gigablast and stuff like that.
Right, where you get that maximum speed. But the problem has always been over Wi-Fi, it's a limiting speed. So you're always going to be limited no matter how much you're paying your service provider for. The Wi-Fi system has to keep up. And these are these like top of the line that can exceed most of what you're going to be getting over the air, which is just crazy that you can get that kind of speed over Wi-Fi now, which again just makes everything more mobile, easier to use. You don't have those weird issues where they slow down and things are moving fast.
Yeah, most of the time your limiting factor is either your modem or your router.
Right.
It's not necessarily the speed that you're getting from Cox or AT&T, it's the tech that you have at home.
Exactly.
And so this will fix that. And I mean, there are other options too, like D-Link's Smart AX 1500 Mesh is 1.5 gigabits per second.
Right.
Right? And it's
And that's only
120 bucks.
Yeah, that's cheap, 120 bucks.
Yeah.
TP-Link also has their Deco Mesh Wi-Fi 6 systems. And again, it's a 2-pack starting at $270. That's very affordable for this top-of-the-line technology.
And these meshes are cool. And if you don't know what those are, instead of just having one router, you have, you know, one base router and then another external and orbiting router.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
A satellite router.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
That is feeding off of that main one, but it's essentially just expanding your network.
Right.
So it's cool if you have like dead areas in your house or your office, you can put another little node there, and it just creates a whole new area full of Wi-Fi.
Bottom line
goodness.
is, if you're having dead spots in your house because you've got, upstairs, downstairs, or it's large floor plan
Or like the
spread
corner
out.
office.
Right.
Yeah.
If you're having dead spots in an area, you got to look into one of these mesh systems. When you're doing it, might as well get one of these new top-of-the-line Wi-Fi 6 ones.
That's right.
And be future-proofed a little bit.
Yep.
This next thing is ultra-mobile laptops and 2-in-1s. We talked about the foldable stuff, but even outside of the foldable stuff, we're having some just rapid increase in what they're doing with laptops that I think is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Dell's got the Latitude 9510 that they're releasing in March, and they're billing this as the world's lightest business laptop at 3.2 pounds. Now, you might think laptops of this kind would be like an 11-inch laptop.
Nothing.
This is a 15-inch display laptop, so it's a large screen laptop, and again, 3.2 pounds, which is insanely light. It has built-in 5G connectivity, so we talked about that, and you can decide whether you agree with Nabeel or I.
Well, I'm not saying it's not useful.
I'm just kidding. So
You can watch 4K video easy.
Right, but with 5G, if you think about it, right, you never have to worry about like, oh, I got to go get Wi-Fi somewhere. This is great for realtors who are out in the field all the time.
True.
You can draw up a contract right there on the spot, 5G connectivity in your car. That's going to make things super easy.
I think that's really cool.
Absolutely. And on top of that, I mean, this is a high-end featured equipment, 16 gigs RAM, a terabyte of storage. It's 2-in-1 tablet laptop. It also features battery performance that is capable of a 30-hour runtime on one charge.
That's pretty impressive.
Right.
15 inches with those specs for 30 hours.
Yeah.
And it's getting 5G. So that connectivity is also,
Instant,
like it's like your phone, it's draining battery. But that's awesome that they got 30 hours out of that.
Yep, instantaneously everywhere. I think this is so cool. This is definitely where laptops are going. And again, it's premium at $1,800, but that's not outrageous for what that is. I mean, that's pretty crazy. So we've definitely seen some rapid improvements in laptops. So if you're in the market for a laptop, maybe wait a few months and see what's coming out in these new business-oriented laptops. Again, here in our office, everybody's on a laptop. We don't even have desktops anymore.
Yeah.
Most people don't. Like, they're just moving to this where people are using laptops. And so definitely check that out, what's coming out in that market, because I'm excited about it. I'm such a geek about this. I love it.
I know, yeah. You can tell from our conversation.
Yeah, for sure.
So the next cool innovation that we saw and that we've already talked about a little bit are some safety gadgets.
Yeah.
And one of those ones was a smart lock that you can now use on everything.
Right.
So your cabinets, your files, anything. So, and we talked about this, the Yale Smart Cabinet Lock.
Right.
So we won't go too far into this. So if you want to know more about this, jump to the previous episode 104, and listen about this. But essentially, you can turn any drawer, any storage into a smart lock.
Yeah. Which
is cool. The other cool thing in this data security safety gadgets is the Avast Omni. It was an honoree for the award, and I love this because you can plug this in to any connected devices, and it tells you about suspicious activity on your network.
Yeah.
That is so cool. So you don't need an IT background. You don't need to know how to spot suspicious malware or any attempts at your firewall or anything like that. This will tell you that, hey, we saw this, check it out.
Right.
It's really cool.
And this is cool because we do have so many things. I mean, again, this will plug directly into your router. You can see, automatically identify and block suspicious malware. One of the big areas where we've seen this is all these connected devices, because they're not putting in, I think they're starting to, but in the early days of the Internet of Things, they were not putting in the proper security. So
Right.
There were open ports, things like that hackers could utilize your smart home tech for various nefarious purposes,
exactly.
or it would create a backdoor into your router, those kinds of things. So this will help plug some of those holes that if you're not real sure if that light switch, for example, is being used or something. It's weird to think that you could do that, but that's exactly what happened. There was a couple of huge denial of service attacks where that's what they did. They programmed this script basically to take over all these loosely secure Internet of Things devices and make them take it down. I think it was almost like the entire West Coast a couple of years ago.
Really?
If you remember that, yeah. And it was all done.
I don't remember this.
Yeah, and it was all done based off of using these Internet of Things devices. So that's a pretty cool thing. Definitely good for the office as well in an age and era where we're so concerned about the security of your systems, and we've seen the wire fraud stuff going on, and so definitely check out Avast. They have this is like the company that also does software for virus protection, those kinds of things, but they've got some of these more hardware devices as well, so check out Avast, and they've got prices starting at $20 for some of these solutions that'll help protect your system.
Right, yeah, that was really exciting. That was cool. I might get one for home.
There you go.
I mean, might as well. Can't be too safe, right?
Nope. Not today, not tomorrow. Facebook. This is interesting. Facebook has actually went to CES and updated their privacy checkup tool, and it's actually the first major update to its privacy tool since it was created in 2014, which is like
6 years ago.
I know, crazy. So it offers a central tab to change settings, seeing who can see your profile and send you friend requests, as well as enabling login alerts so you can see if somebody else logs in on your account. Review permission settings for third-party apps, which was a big one where people are stealing your data because you approve, Candy Crush clone or whatever.
To take everything from you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So check out Facebook's new privacy tool. I think that you should probably, it's something we should do every year, do a little privacy audit on social media, make sure that you haven't authorized things and that kind of stuff. So check that out because they've updated it for the first time in 6 years.
Right. And so this, like a few other things, is not necessarily something that's new, right? Because Facebook had privacy tools that you could get to, and you could do all these things if you dug far deep into it.
Yeah.
Like you could get to all these settings, and they're just making it more accessible because it's so much more prevalent.
Yeah.
And it's about time.
Yes, I agree. A couple other quick things we wanted to bring up that were pretty cool. They've got this new security camera thing that is it's a
security camera.
Yeah, it's hard to describe. It's weird. It's a smart home security device that what this does is it's an over-the-door camera.
Yeah.
It's by Bodyguards, guards with a Z, and it's basically like a digital peephole. It has a camera that slips over the top of the door on this metal bracket. One side has a wide-angle camera that captures what's happening outside. The other side has an LCD display with a live feed, so you can see what's going on the other side of the door. And then it also has a camera pointed inside for dual recording, so you can see what's going on inside as well. It's got a microphone for two-way communication, and it's got cloud-based storage that you can access via smartphone app, those kinds of things. So this is pretty cool, I think. It's $280. It is available now. Again, it's Bodyguards. And I think this is kind of a cool device for almost like a temporary solution too. Like you want to have something that you're not installing with screws and that kind of thing,
right?
For showings or whatever the case is. This is kind of a cool device to be able to have that if there's something that you want a little extra security, or at the office, something like that.
Yeah, this kind of reminds me about the smart lock situation,
right,
where they're turning everything into a smart lock capable drawer,
right,
or cabinet. And so this is essentially turning all your doors, instead of having to install Ring anywhere, like one in the front, one in the back, or like you're saying, showing especially, you just slip this on and you take this off and go wherever else you need to go.
Yeah.
I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
The next one's also with a camera. It is Arlo's Pro 3, and it's the first wire-free floodlight camera.
Yeah.
And that's really cool. And it's got night vision and the ability to zoom in and record footage, or you can view it live. You can mount it anywhere, move it as needed. It's battery powered. Lasts up to 6 months on one charge.
Yeah, that's pretty
impressive.
Cool.
Yeah,
that's pretty impressive.
So,
and Arlo makes good stuff. We have Arlo cameras that are really nice, and so really cool. Again, it's got a built-in siren, two-way audio to speak with somebody if you see them. So kind of a cool little device.
Yeah, and it comes out later this year.
Yep, so check that out. That's pretty much going to wrap it up. We're about out of time here. There's definitely some other crazy stuff that you've seen at CES, artificial intelligence and
artificial humans.
Artificial humans. What is it? The
AR.
AR.
The augmented reality.
Augmented reality.
With like Google Glass and stuff. So I think that's going to make a comeback in like the next couple of years.
Yeah, the wearable tech that you like the glasses where you can have your little heads-up display.
I know they were talking about lenses a little while ago.
Yeah.
And so it'll be interesting because if you remember, foldable screens were talked about years ago.
Yeah.
Right, and it kind of reminds me of how they were talking about augmented reality years ago, and now foldable screens are are here.
Right.
And so I wonder if in the next year or two we're going to see augmented reality really make a push for it.
Well, we've been seeing a lot more, particularly just like iPhone games and things like that, and even some stuff in the real estate industry where you can like put an AR couch in an empty room, those kinds of things. So we're starting to see that come to fruition a little bit. It's starting to develop, and I think we're going to keep seeing some more of the augmented reality come up as a new thing as well. So. Lots of crazy stuff going on out there. Again, we are rapidly improving and increasing in our technology capabilities, powered by 5G.
With the Wi-Fi router near you.
So we appreciate you coming in again. You know, we love to talk about tech stuff here. So having 2 weeks to talk about all the cool new tech that came out of CES really got Nabeel and I excited. We're going to get into some weeds, I think, next week is the plan. The HUD released some new guidelines on emotional support animals that are going to be very helpful for anybody that deals with any property management of any kind and emotional support animals. They finally have given us some new guidance. So take a look at that if you're in that field, and then come back next week because we're going to get into the weeds on what that means and what that looks like for everybody, that we finally have a little bit of extra guidance on it.
Now, would that include the pet we talked about last week?
Well, since that's not actually even an animal, fake pets, that's the next thing. My emotional support robot.
That's
what it was.
Yep.
So, yeah. So again, thanks for coming and joining us on Talking Real this week for episode 105. We look forward to having you back next Tuesday as well.
And if you haven't done so yet, hit that subscribe button so you know when the next episode comes out every Tuesday, if you're wondering. And share this podcast with a friend or a fellow real estate enthusiast, and spread the love of Talking Real.
Absolutely. So until next time, we'll see you next Tuesday on Talking Real.
Did your audio start sounding weird?
No.
At the end?
Huh.
Like that thing happened again where it like changed.
Mine has done that like in the middle. It did it. Where it almost, I don't know, it's hard to describe.
Like it becomes more like
Immersive.
hollow, almost. Do you think immersive? I felt hollow, like more echoey. Like it was all, immersive because it was all around you.